I got 6 o'clock on the dot, so let's get it started. Meeting called to order for a special meeting for East Umatilla County Ambulance Area Health District. Roll call, Chris Werland.
Ray Denny.
Christine Erb.
Mark Albert.
Chris Williams.
Okay, all members are here and nobody else. Okay, so basically we have two things. Oh, wait. Approve the agenda. Do you guys even have the agenda? No?
No.
Okay. It basically just says meeting to order, roll call, approve and edit the agenda, public comment, and then special meeting says discussion, operation and financial consolidation with EUCAAHD, and that's it. And then adjournment. Oh, we lost Mark. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and approved by Chris Williams and then Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're going 4-0 because Mark has not come back yet. Okay, no public comment because have no public. Okay, so the two things on the agenda tonight kind of is motion number 1. Motion to create the executive board with fire, meeting monthly and moving the medic meeting quarterly. So I'm going to open that up for discussion. Am I yelling? I feel like
We
I
can
don't
hear
know
ya.
if you are on purpose. We could hear you.
Okay. That's the one we're discussing first, is the executive board, moving the executive board up with the fire. So do we have any discussion with that?
So you just said we would go to quarterly meetings.
If the fire accepts going to the executive board, then yes, the medic would go to quarterly meetings.
So I guess, can you explain to me this executive board? Because we're not forming a new entity. So I'm not sure why we would form a new board.
Do you remember basically when we had 2 from Helix Fire, 2 from Medic, 2 from EUCAAHD, and 2 from Athena?
I do, but we had they were all IGA'd into a new entity. So I guess that's why we created that separate board. And then the other one still existed separately, but we're not creating anything new here.
I think it was that the way they were discussing it, it was my understanding it would be like that 8-man board so that everybody would have a say in everything. See, right now, medic only has the right to vote for medic and fire only has the right to vote for fire. So each entity loses 2 people, whether it's Ray and Christine or it's Greg and Matt. So if we use the IGA to show that we were an executive board, then all 7 would sit on it.
Okay. So
then,
basically we would be able, that's how we get to one meeting.
correct.
Okay.
So
And we can do that with SDAO will allow us to do that.
yes, if we do the executive board.
And so when election time comes up, it's still business as usual. I mean, because we've not changed any of that entity. So
Correct. My only concern
Well,
there is, and I wrote it here, my scribble notes on my drive back from Bend. If we end up going in what, another year or two when we go back up for election, if we manage to go back up to 10, that's 20, or that's 10 people on that executive board instead of 7. So then we've got 5 and 5, and we're no longer an odd man. See, right now, 4 people could go against and 3, 4, or vice versa, and we'd still have the odd number. So I think it would have to be readjusted at that time if there was 10. But at present, there's only 7. That makes sense?
Because we have
But I'm
people
gonna be
doubled up
busy
on
for an hour.
positions, right?
I'm going to be busy for an hour. What was that, Chris? Or Ray?
It was Ray. We're doubled up on, well, not doubled up, but we have people serving on both boards.
Correct. At present.
But potentially we could have 5 and 5.
Is anybody up for election this next go around?
I think it's Chris Williams and I.
For fire or for medic?
Medic.
For medic.
And we still are, I'm going to say, required to be at the monthly meetings. We're just saying that the medic would meet quarterly.
Correct. Because technically, there wouldn't be a whole lot left to discuss if everything is being discussed in the executive board.
So this would actually just make it a one meeting,
Correct.
except for quarterly.
Correct.
So do you and Matt serve as co-president?
We could. He can take one meeting, I can take one meeting.
I suppose this
And-
works as long as we all get along. Well, I think we'll get along, but I guess with new people or something, maybe it wouldn't work so well. I don't know, but
Yeah.
And what happens when we're approving finances and that sort of thing? I mean, so so in this one united meeting will be, okay, medic finances, and we only vote on it, or?
We can, however, in the quarterly meeting, we can say for the next 3 months, we agree to pay bills, or we agree to whatever, because all we're doing, the motion number 2 is doing 1/12 of the IGA check per month. And if we vote on that now, we've already agreed to pay bills. That makes
Chris
sense?
Werland, Chris, how do you feel about this option? Mixed feelings? Are you okay? Or
You know, I kind of chatted a little bit with Chris Williams. I have some questions on my motion number 2, which is the motion to transfer the 1/12 of the IGA. I looked at the budget, and I guess my question, and this would be to Chris, because you know the budget better. Does the 867,000 include everything that we presently have in the bank plus everything that we assume we're going to get? because my problem is if I have a savings account and it's got $1,000 and I get married and I hand everything to my husband and just tell him to go pay the bills, and I have no money left in my pocket for my soda pop or whatever, that kind of bothers me. Second off, if I give them 1/12 of the 867, but I only spent 700,000, do I get it back? I realize I may not get the interest back because all my money's in their pocket, but we are medic people in charge of that medic because our constituents voted for us. So is that money going to go in the pot and, oh, fire needs new this and fire needs new that? Well, we've got $1 million in the bank, we'll go spend it. But technically, fire didn't have that money, medic did. And so even though it was a good thing for the district, is it a good thing for the fire or the medic? And so that kind of, I have some questions on the aspect of, I don't mind giving them X amount times 1/12, but at the end of the year, I'd almost like an audit to see, you know, did I truly spend the 867, or do you owe me 100,000 back? Does that make sense?
So, yeah. So what I'm projecting, so we're not going to hand over all our savings. So what I'm projecting is we're going to spend about $50,000 into our contingency funds this next fiscal year. But and so the money will stay in our account and we will be collecting interest. We'll just be doling it out 1/12 at a time. So the interest is still ours, just like it would have been.
Okay.
So that answers that part. About I think since we're very friendly, that we're going to see the monthly expense reports. We're going to be tracking what it costs, and they are too, because they're going to have to manage. That's all the money they get, right? If they've agreed to accept that much for providing services, if we agree to pay them that much for services, there's no more, unless they really sweet talk us. And quite frankly, we don't have the money. We spent more than that 867 in this fiscal year we're finishing up. But we can't afford to do that again. So they're going to have to manage with that much money. And I think everybody's going to be keeping a close tab on the costs. And my hope is that we can figure out how to reduce that in the future so we can go back to putting money in our, saving up for equipment replacement and that sort of thing. Right. And I'm hoping with our new administration that people are really going to be sharp on how we allocate our labor and our maintenance and all those things. Most of our expense is labor. We don't spend that much. We've got good ambulances, so we don't spend that much on repairs. And our supplies are expensive, but it's just because we're in the medical business. So I don't know that you can save much there. Unless you buy green gloves instead of blue, or I don't know. But
White, don't pay extra for the color.
right. But I think that we're all going to be watching, and so I don't have reservations about the money part. I'm still, this one board thing, I'm still wrapping my head around. I like the idea of having, it feels like a step in the right direction of operating as one unit. I just hope it's legal. I hope somebody's checked it out.
Yeah, well, that's what Prati said.
I'm with you, Chris. I'm okay with giving the 1/12. I think under Tony's leadership, we're going to see some different outcomes. And somebody that's got their eye on some things that the eye hasn't been on for a while is what I believe.
Yeah.
The combining the boards right now, I think we're a little premature. I think we need to do some more looking into it. I like the idea, so I'm not saying I don't, I just believe in my heart that we really need to look and make sure it is as it should be, and it's legal.
Okay.
We haven't, nobody's ran this by SDAO or as far as we know. Or,
Matt was going to, and I don't know what his outcome was. And then Tony said that they've done it in the past. And so I guess I kind of wanted to find you guys' thoughts and patterns, because we did do the IGA with the 2 per board years ago, you know, and we just reworked the IGA to state so. And then of course I was Helix Fire and Ambulance, and so we went back to our corners and had our personal meetings. And if one of ours wanted to, you know, get clarification or whatever, it was up to those 2 members that were part of the bigger board to address those in the bigger board, you know. And then Athena City Council had their meeting, and so if they had issues, they would do their thing, and then bring it back to the board. So
I think where I'm at with it today is I think we should explore it, and we should seek guidance from SDAO, but it does feel like it's going to take like a modification of the IGA to,
Yep.
Right?
Yep, to put it into play.
Yeah. So is
Okay.
this something that we could have them check out and vet and give us a draft on, and we could vote at our next regular meeting?
I will talk to Matt and find out how far he's come on it.
I'm on video.
And then I will reach out if I need to SDAO and figure out. So,
No.
okay.
I'm more comfortable with you reaching out and us just not going off of what somebody else has said and done. I mean, as the medic board, I think we need to do our due diligence. It is my thoughts. I don't care if you and Matt are on a call together, or you and, you know, however that works. I just think that you should hear it directly from, or get that email or whatever the case is. So we have crossed all of our T's and dotted all of our I's.
Okay. Okay, I will work on that before our next meeting, see where I can come from.
Well,
So
I'm just, sorry, I was curious. Would it be a modification of the IGA or just an addendum too?
it would be addendum.
So if I heard correctly in the meeting, we were out on Thursday, just like any other IGA, if we decide that it's not something that's working out for us, we would be able to step back out of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it sounded like this is kind of the model that the Stronger Together people are working on too. So, I mean, if you have that big of an entity trying to do this type of model, I would think that they probably have it pretty well vetted. I don't think that they would, you know, present it in such a wide, broad fashion if, you know, if they didn't, you know what they were doing. That's my guess. So, but I mean, yeah, looking into it a little bit deeper, I'm on board for it. I think it's a great idea to try to work towards, you know, our ultimate goal of combining the districts or combining the boards or whatever it is we're going for right now. My only question as far as the finances go is, I guess I don't understand. I was under the assumption that we were already paying monthly for the IGA.
It is my understanding that we pay exactly what we owe each month into the IGA. So our phone bill, our gas bill, all of that is how much we owe monthly, and that's why it's different every month. We might have gone through more gas or whatever.
Okay.
So
So we're looking
basically
at
how
just a
this,
fixed amount.
right, how this started was I proposed a document that would outline how costs are shared
Right.
in the IGA. And because our administrative folks don't have any guidance on that, and it's
Mhm.
just kind of up to however they feel that day. Um, and we got a lot of new folks coming in, and that's when Matt brought up to the meeting that this might be the good opportunity to take the next step towards our districts coming into one,
Convenient.
and just put the money, agree to this is what we're going to pay, and you know turn, so to speak, turn the money over.
So I guess then if we were going from a model of paying just what we owe to kind of a fixed equal payment, similar to how I have my power bill every month, it's an equal pay.
Sure.
It basically goes into the bank for my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I equal pay, but that doesn't mean that my neighbor can take money out of that, if they go over. Similar to how the fire department shouldn't be able to take money out of that chunk that I put into that account. So at least I'm seeing that as, if we're doing an equal pay, that money is going to sit there for the medic board or medical district use, and not necessarily be allocated to be used for fire, because it's still kind of separate, I guess. I mean, we're giving them a chunk of money saying, here, pay the bills that we owe. But if there's any of that left over, it should remain in an account with the fire district slated for medical use, because we may go over the next month that much. And so, I mean, it needs to be, I think it needs to be worded that way, and that it's no different than any other budget. If you have a budget item for this, really, you're not supposed to be able to take from other budget items. We're not pulling from our uh our employee budget to go and fix a fire truck, or something along those lines. So I think if in that, we word it in a way that basically says, it's yes, we're paying 1/12, but that money is specific for the fire
Medical
use,
expenses.
medical use, our employees costs, fuel, whatever it is. Because like I said, if 1 month we have a really busy month and they run 100 calls, not that we want to see that, but it's possible, and our fuel budget goes up through the roof, now all of a sudden maybe our monthly cost is actually more than what that 1/12 would be, but we should still have
Mm-hmm.
some from the previous month sitting in there
Right.
that would be able to cover that. So that's in my mind, that's how I guess it makes sense to me.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion on it?
Well, I like that idea, Mark. I just wonder, does that make it problematic though? Since we share expenses, like Chris, you presented that sheet of, where we have so much, where we do share expenses on some things, fire and ambulance. Or would that, you think that would be fine, the way Mark's proposing it?
The way the Mark's proposing it really isn't any different than what we're doing now, other than we're putting a fixed amount in every month. And it still leaves
Okay,
to somebody's interpretation how those expenses are shared. What the fire
okay.
board passed was accepting a fixed payment for services. They'll provide 24-hour staffed ambulance services for this rate.
So basically, like the IGA with Pendleton, we may need a
Right.
fire HR, or we may not need HR.
But Chris, in your opinion, based on the history with staff, it might be easier to do it, or not easier, but maybe less problematic, having staff decide how things get split up, or
Uh, I like the idea of putting guardrails on the amount of money we're spending. That's why I'm in favor of the fixed payment. I understand there's a chance that they could manage better and have a surplus at the end of the year. But the truth is, the way I look at the budget, they're going to have to be right on their game to come in on that number. And I believe that under Chief Peretti's guidance, they're going to be tracking things very closely. And so if there is a surplus, I think that that's something we could work with them on applying to the next year or something. But I like the idea of they agreed that it's going to cost us this much. And we know we're not going to dig any farther into our contingency, no matter what decision that they decide to make.
So basically this 867,000, which is under that, we're not putting any more into contingency, but we're not digging into our quote unquote savings either. This is only the amount that we are going to estimate that we're getting.
No, we are,
No,
that budget includes digging in about $50,000 into our contingency this next year.
Okay.
but Chris, if we make more income,
Right,
then that money goes back to us, not them.
right. All
What-
the
what-
income still comes to us. Yes.
Okay.
So if we're doing better, and I'm not saying we're not doing
Mhm.
good at collections, but I question like what's going on here because it's not transparent right now. You know, that it's really odd to me where we were 5, 6 years ago to where we are right now. And I know we're in a bigger station. There's a lot of changes. There's more expenses and that sort of thing. But something just is off to me. And I think, like Chris said, putting those guardrails on, we're already committed to this money anyways.
Mhm.
But this really just, this is it. I mean,
I agree that it really scares me that, in my opinion, mismanagement over the last couple of years, because we had almost 600,000 in our takeover from year to year, and all of a sudden we've got so many employees, and yet we were still only supposed to have 2 for us, and the third one was supposed to be fire. And you know, the building needed some major issues with the water thing and whatnot, yet we still had 30,000 to buy a sign. And I think a lot of mismanagement was there, and I don't know. However, I agree that with Chief Prodi, I think he's more of a financial stickler, a penny pincher. And I guess I would be willing to do this at least for 1 year and see if something doesn't pan out better. So I guess the 112, I would be in favor with it, as long as I'm not scooping up all my savings and all my everything and just saying, here, you take it and manage it, because I don't feel that is good for our constituents that
Mhm.
give to the medic. You know, we do need employees, flat out. We've got to pay the employees. You know, even if we took, 3 employees, and the 2 higher paid are $15 an hour and the bottom is 10, and you add it up and you split it 75-25, that's still not an equal amount if that bottom person was supposed to do the whole thing. And so I agree, it gets confusing. Who's the bottom guy today so I can put it on fire? It's ridiculous to try and, you know, who's the 25 and who's the 50, and yeah, I get it. I guess I would be willing to agree for this next fiscal year to do the 112 and see how well Prati manages, and see if we can't kind of dig ourselves out at least a little bit. As long as, you know, our budget says X amount still goes for equipment fund and X amount still goes here or there, and it's specified exactly what we are still responsible for. And if in the 112, if that includes the 3,000 for the Dr. Adams, or if we have to pay it, I think that part needs to be very specified. But other than that, what we are not paying, do the 112 and try it for a year. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
So the 867 that we came up with would include everything except our audit and any legal counsel we chose to engage. You know, if we had a question that we needed Sam Tucker or somebody to weigh in on. So it would cover everything except that. But that should be stated in the motion.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I got to jump off on another meeting, so I'm going to make a motion and you guys can either say yes or no.
Okay.
So I move that we, for 24-hour staffed ambulance services, we pay East Umatilla Fire and Rescue a fixed amount of $867,000 divided in 12 equal payments to cover all operating expenses other than our audit and any legal counsel.
I would second that.
Okay. My specified, is that including the equipment fund? Because it
So
looked like there
this
was
year's
some in there.
budget does not have room to contribute to those.
Any of them.
We
No.
had to knock that out this year.
I thought the 6,000 from the building that we got went into building fund. Did that get pulled out?
Yeah, we had to pull that out.
Okay. So the only thing is the audit and the legal. Okay. It's been moved by Chris Williams, seconded by Mark Calvert. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. All right, 5-0. Any other discussion? Okay, do I have a motion
Well-
to adjourn? What?
Well, I think, I think I'm going to move that I think based on the discussion and listening to you folks, I like this executive board idea more now than when we first started the meeting. Because I think, like Christine and I have been talking a little bit about the collections and billing, and that's something I hope improves, but I'd really like to keep an eye on for the ambulance board, because it just seems like no one has a real good handle on it. We can't answer our questions, and I don't feel like we get very good. And it may not be so much staff; it's the billing company. I don't really feel like we get.
Yeah.
And I know in my past we had to kind of push the billing company to compete to communicate better, and that may be what needs to happen here. But
Are they the only company that does that kind of billing?
We've gone through numerous companies over the few years I've been here. We had some out of Hermiston, and then we went with, what is it, Target, or I can't think of their name now. I have contacted them numerous times asking for the email that they claim they send out once a month. And I get it that day or a week later, and they guarantee me that I'm on a list, and I never get it again. They claim that Dave Beatty was on the list, and they send it to him every month, and he claims he doesn't get it. And so it's constantly a harassment to try and get their little piece of paper that Chris got at the last meeting. So, Ray, are you saying that you are in agreement with a possible executive board?
Well, yeah, I think I am more now than I was earlier when we started. I mean, I wasn't opposed to it, but I was
Okay,
kind of like, do we really need one? But then I kind of like the idea is if it's like, as others have said, as long as it's something that sounds like something we could do. I mean, I think I would, maybe it's kind of, I mean, like Mark's on both boards, I guess, and Chris, you're on both boards, so maybe
yeah,
I would,
Chris Williams
it would be a
also.
way of kind of combine. It would be a way of combining that. Not that I feel left out or anything, but or not heard. I don't feel that, but
Well,
it
let
might
me
be a
do some
better way
due
to manage
diligence.
both.
Let me do some due diligence the last couple of weeks, these next couple of weeks, and let me see if I can get an actual legal answer before our next meeting, and we can vote at that one.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think that's as well. We did what was more critical was the budget so that they could start the fiscal year. But this
Yeah.
could, but yeah, I think I'm in favor of it, but but I'd probably hear more feedback.
Okay,
And it'd be one meeting and we all could just sit, I mean, we all attend now, but we
and
have
at
to keep
least
track of
the
who's
odd,
on.
at least the odd 2 men out, or 2 people out, sorry, Chris, would have a vote at that meeting. And it would also combine it down to 1 and hopefully make it go faster than to repeat it, doing it 2. So,
Well, and I think Tony's wants, I think Tony probably, I think he wanted it. He'd like it that way because that way he communicates to one
exactly.
governing body, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
To answer Mark, the only one there was a billing agency in Springfield that we used at the tribe. I mean, they were huge. I don't know, maybe they, but I mean, they had to do for get
I mean, my only thing
information that
is,
you could look at. And review.
yeah, my only thing is if we're having trouble communicating with the current one, I didn't know if they were the only ones out there, and so they're like, well, you'll get what we get when you get it. But if there are other agencies out there, I'm not saying we need to go looking, but it just seems like trying to get information from these guys is, quite difficult. So just, just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Well, in
Well,
worst
when I
case
had to do it,
scenario,
I had to really
they're in
specify
Hermiston,
what I
right?
wanted. Sorry, Chrissy.
They're located in Hermiston.
I think they're either like in Tri-Cities or, yeah, I think in Tri-Cities.
So we set up a meeting and we do a face-to-face, and 2 board meeting members go over there and meet with them.
Yeah. I'm
We
ready.
had to really explain what we wanted because they were really nervous about HIPAA law as far as providing names and things, and we had to really explain that we didn't need names, we just needed numbers, but we worked it out eventually. But it took a meeting or 2.
Yeah, and that
But
report that Chris
that's all.
Williams had did not have names on it at all. it was a service that was provided and who their insurance party was, the billing, but there was some wackadoodle things on there. I mean, it was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you can call them patient 123 and patient 567. You can call them whatever. Doesn't have to be a name. But okay, any more discussion?
No. Move to adjourn.
I'll
I didn't
second it.
understand.
He
Okay,
said move to adjourn is what Ray
Move
said.
to
and I
adjourn,
said
Chris.
okay. So it's been moved by Ray, seconded by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, 4-0. Chris Williams has stepped off for another meeting. So meeting adjourned at 6:42.